I like to play soft music, which you would think that's kind of counterintuitive, right? It's, wait, they're being loud and I'm gonna add more noise. But I like to use it as an incentive for my kids. I'm Catherine Barker, and today we're going to be talking about what to do when you have an exceptionally loud class. I want you to think before we even jump into strategies on how to deal with a loud class. First, we want to do some detective work. So we're going to think, okay, when is my class getting loud? So what time of the day are they getting loud? Are they getting loud when they first come in the morning? Are they just kind of crazy and rambunctious? Is it after recess? They're just super charged up from running around. Is it after they've been working for a long time? Is it after the carpet time? Is it, maybe during small groups? When is it? Sometimes, maybe it's all the above, but first we wanna ask and kind of do some digging and figure out, is there a certain time when this is happening more frequently? Depending on when your students are being loud, we wanna kind of tailor it to that time. Maybe they're getting really loud after recess. They just come in and they're just, wow, super, super charged. So something I love to do is like try doing some yoga, do some like breathing and calm down techniques. Maybe it's before recess where they're just like so amped up and they've just been working for a long time and their focus is just kind of like spent. Then you think, okay, maybe I need to throw in a few more brain breaks where we're getting up and kind of moving and resetting, get the blood flowing and then sitting back down. I personally found that my students would really get loud really during like our small center time or like our small group time. And it would I would remind them to be quiet and then they would just kind of go up again. The volume would keep going up and we'd remind and it would go up again. So you wanna first do that detective work and really determine when are my students getting loud. And also just like a quick side note, make sure that you aren't being loud. That was something I realized. I'm just kind of naturally a very loud person. And I realized my students were just matching my volume. So I'd be like, oh my gosh, they're so loud. But it's like, oh, I'm also being really loud. So kind of check and see, okay, where's my volume? Am I using, the volume that I want my students to use? And when I say loud class, I mean the class as a whole. I don't mean like those one or two really loud, maybe a few students that just have a really loud voice, or maybe they're just like really disruptive. If you are experiencing any issues with kind of those students that are being like really loud or really disruptive, maybe particularly during like circle time, I actually have a video specifically for how to handle a disruptive student during your carpet or circle time. So be sure to check that out after this. Let's jump into these 4 quick, easy ideas for how to bring down the noise level of a really loud class. Step number 1 is use a call and response, right? They're getting really, really loud. Use a call and response. Make sure, I like to always switch them up and kind of use fresh ones throughout the school year. So make sure you use a fun call and response and remind students, oh, okay, we're being a little too loud. We need to bring our volume down. So start with the call and response. If you find yourself constantly stopping and using those call and responses, I'd say more than 2 or 3 times, then we need to move on to a different strategy because we don't want to constantly be stopping, using a call and response and students' voices are going down and then it just goes up again. Then after 1 or 2 times, we need to move on to something different. The second strategy you can use is, so you've done the call and response, it's not really working, then you can move to try to do more like play pretend ideas. What do I mean by like play pretend ideas? So an example would be like, just get a spray bottle and you can just write on it or get like a little label and put quiet spray on it, right? You can fill it with water, you can leave it empty, whatever you want to do. But when the class is being exceptionally loud, you just spray, oh, let's get our quiet spray, sprayed over the students. And some really like the mist, like, it can kind of just, if you have to go over your small groups, then go do it. Or maybe during circle time, whenever they're being loud, that's a really fun way you can do it. Bring the magic in the classroom, right? And help them magically quiet. Harness that fun 5-year-old imagination, right? And use it to your advantage. Something that I always like to do when I found my students were being loud, I would say, oh, boys and girls, so this is the pretend thing. Let's turn our volumes down, touch your voice, and turn it down. They will turn down our volumes. Okay, thank you for using your inside voice. Another idea you can use is go back to those rules. So one of our rules was, rule number 4 was use inside voices. And so I would say, boys and girls, rule number 4, use inside voices. And it was just that quick reminder, oh, okay, that's right, bring our volume down. Say you've tried the calm response, you've done the pretend, turn down the volume, and they're still just being really, really loud. Move into these other strategies that I have. The first one is I like to play soft music, which you would think that's kind of counterintuitive, right? It's, wait, they're being loud and I'm gonna add more noise. But I like to use it as an incentive for my kids. If you find maybe they're super rambunctious, you can use like fun, like quiet, like jazz music can kind of just help calm it down. It's just kind of, ooh, nice, pretty jazz music. And it can really help actually calm students down. You could also use it as an incentive. So I feel like Disney's always a fan favorite. You really can't go wrong with it. So use some Disney songs and put on just like a Disney playlist and just have it quietly in the background and just tell your kids, okay, boys and girls, I'm gonna put on some fun music for us to listen to while we're working. But if we are being too loud and our voice goes above the volume of the music, then I'm gonna have to shut it off. And no, that's sad. Let's have a fun time. Let's listen to music while we work, right? And I found that this really helped, was just a fun incentive for my kids. It kind of just broke up the routine. It just made it more fun and engaging. I also do want to say, I don't recommend using the music at the beginning of the school year. I would say you need to get your rules, routines, your everything down with that. I would say the first 2 months, and then maybe into like after 8 weeks or so, then you could kind of start to incorporate the music if you find your students are being really loud. Another really cool strategy that I love to use is use like a noise meter for your class to see. You would just pull it up on your computer, and I would just, if you have like a projector, project it from your computer onto the projector for the screen for the whole class to see. And I would have like, there's like a noise meter. So if the volume goes up too loud, it would say whoop, and it would like be a little thermometer go whoop, too loud. There's a really cool noise meter that you definitely should check out. It's called bouncyballs.org, and it's super, super cool because you can select the sensitivity. So like how loud do you want it to get it? You can change the like theme. So it can be like little bouncy balls. And then when it goes up, a little like alert will come up. It'll say too loud. They also have like bubbles that you can do bubbles. They also have like eyeballs if you want to do that like during Halloween time. So they have fun little things to switch it up. Sometimes you'll find with the noise meter that you'll have that class or maybe those handful of kids that think it's fun to make the noise meter go louder, right? So when you have this group of kids, I would say have an incentive in place. I would just set a goal for your kiddos and say, okay, boys and girls, if the noise meter goes past, if it gets too loud more than 2 times, then I won't be able to give you X, Y, and Z. But if we are quiet and we keep our noise level down, then we will, I will give you, 5 minutes extra recess or whatever it is, the incentive. Or maybe if you're doing like a marble jar, I'm gonna put marbles in the jar, or I'll put a cookie in the cookie jar, or some sort of, if you have like a whole group incentive, I would use that. And let your whole class know, okay, if we make good choices with the noise meter and we keep our volume down, we're going to get this. And you don't have to do the whole group incentive for that, but I find it's helpful when you have those students that find it fun to make the noise meter go up and then it's not really working. So try to throw in an incentive in there if you find that's what's happening. Okay, so let's do a quick recap. So we talked about doing some detective work, right? Trying to figure out when our class is getting loud. Is it certain times of the day? Maybe it's all the time. Am I contributing to the loudness? Am I being loud and students are matching my volume? So do kind of that detective work and do that digging before you introduce any strategies. Then we talked about 4 different strategies that we can use to help bring down the volume in our class. So 1, we want to use calm response. If that doesn't work, we can move into using those pretend play, like the quiet spray or turning your volume down. The 3rd strategy was using soft music in the background and use that as a fun incentive for them to keep their volume nice and quiet below the music. And the 4th was using a noise meter, which make sure you check out bouncyballs.org. Super, super fun. There's tons of other free ones that you can also use. So you can just Google noise meter for classroom and you'll get tons of ideas and different things that you can use. And don't forget to check out my video on how to handle a disruptive student during carpet time. I have some really, really great strategies in that video on how to really decrease that disruptive behavior. And I also have a little special bonus in that video for you to grab. So if you found this video helpful or useful in any way, be sure to like and subscribe. Okay, my friend, that's it for now. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, happy teaching.